What's up with it? What's up with it? We back in the exact. It's your boy Daddy Cree. Man Look the Podcast in association with Ridin Podcast. Today I have a special guest with me, man. It's my homegirl Whitney Verns. And today it's a special. This is really like a special thing for me, man, because this is really my friend, man. Haven't seen in quite some time. Today we'll be talking to y'all about, she'll be sharing her story about fentanyl and her addiction to it and things of that nature. And we'll just get into some things. But first of all, I want to allow her to introduce herself to the audience and to the people, so y'all get a feel for who she is, where she from, things like that. Go ahead, mama.
Hello, everybody. I'm Whitney. People probably know me mostly as Chantel, but I'm a Corpus native, born and raised. I've been gone for 5 years, so it's all new to me right now. It's familiar, but it's different. So, but yeah, this will be the first time I'm really just going into detail about my situation. So I'm excited.
That's what's up. Why don't you let everybody know where you from, where you grew up at here in Corpus, schools or anything like that you may have attended to, and some of the things that you done here in Corpus. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I grew up at Lexington Manor Apartments on Castores. I went to Tom Brown, Carroll, Gulf Coast Council of La Raza, and then I graduated. Yeah, a lot of us went to La Raza. I graduated from Richard Milburn Academy, and I was a waitress at Pizza Hut for a long time, and then I started working at the hotels, and then I gradually moved up. So, I mean, I ain't really done too much, Just
here, huh?
Yeah, I ain't really done much.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Not getting into the topic too fast, but let me see.
What was your upbringing like, growing up on the South Side?
Yeah.
My upbringing was good. My mom was a single parent, but I think my childhood was fun. I remember having a lot of fun, especially during the summer and stuff like that. My mom was a school bus driver, so she had the same schedule as me, like as far as school and everything like that. So, but I was supervised, but I was unsupervised a lot. I had a lot of freedom growing up. So I had fun though.
What were some of the things that you used to get into when you was young?
We used to sneak off before school, go get high. I remember the counselor called my mom one time and told my mom that we all went across the street to the baseball field and got high. But they didn't see us smoking, and it was just those things. I started smoking cigarettes at a young age, and my mom found out, and I would just sneak off and do things, always on the city bus. Back then it was the mall on Saturdays.
Yeah, the city bus used to be lit, man. I don't know what's wrong with these kids today, man. The city bus was where the action was at, man. We ain't even want no rides, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I drop y'all off, no, just give us a change so we can get on the bus. That's where everybody was at, man. City bus used to be lit.
And then going to school, and then going to school at La Raza and going from 8 to 12, you get out at noon. Shit, we would fuck around all day. Yeah. We would just do things all day, and then come 5 o'clock, everybody start going home because their parents are getting off, but we would have fun, do our thing.
What were some of the spots y'all used to go hang out at, besides the mall, you know what I'm saying?
19th Street.
In my area?
Yeah, 19th Street. We used to go to Lulac a lot. Casa de Mañana, just different places.
Yeah.
Wherever it was popping at.
That's what's up. I'm laughing because those were all some of the spots we used to hit too. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I got in my early 20s and I was still out there running around thugging and shit like that. Those were some of the areas that I would venture off into myself. What kind of friends you had when you was growing up?
What kind of friends did I have? I had a lot of different friends. It started off, I never really had a lot of black friends, because I went to Tom Brown. I went to Menger Elementary for one. I was only it was only 2 black kids at the school, maybe 3, you know. Then going to middle school, it was just, I had all types of friends, Asians friends, all kind of friends, and friends that didn't do drugs, didn't do anything, you know. So for a while, I was a square kid, you know. I was one of those dare kids, say no to drugs, you know. But cigarettes were my thing in the beginning. That was my jam. So, yeah.
When was the first time you tried marijuana?
I was 13, maybe 12. I got high, and yeah, I was really high.
You're the first time?
Yeah, I remember that. I was really high. But I was one of those smokers, like, I didn't have to smoke a lot, you know? I would hit it like once or twice and be gone, you know? And I would laugh a lot. And at first, I couldn't get with the smoking weed. It was just too much for me. And then it became one of those things where everybody was doing it, so shit, I want to get high too. I want to feel nice. I want to laugh like them. Then we started drinking. You know how that goes growing up.
Yeah.
Experimenting with MD 2020.
I think that's how majority of us, like back in those times anyway, you know what I'm saying, coming up, man, I think that was like the first drink, MD 2020 and Wild Irish Rose, man.
Right.
Was the first kind of drinks too. I remember my first time getting high, man, and I was young. I was young, and I had some buddies, man, like, their mom used to sell weed. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about we were in elementary. Their mom used to sell weed, so he would go into his mom's sack, steal a couple of joints, and we'll go to the railroad track in Northside. You know what I'm saying? And go around over that area. And we would try to smoke. You know what I'm saying? I remember trying to smoke with them, you know what I'm saying? But I never really got high or what I thought it was until like, I think I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I had this partner in the neighborhood named, he was an older dude. He was a Mexican dude too, man. But shit, he was super fly. You know what I'm saying? He used to wear the Kango. He had curly hair. You know what I'm saying? That's all he hung with the niggas. You know what I'm saying? That's all he hung around was with the blacks. You know what I'm saying? Name was Ricky, man, and it was me and my partner Monty, man, and he was like, y'all want to ride with me to Etna? Like. It had to been after 10 because my mama had passed. I ain't tried none of this shit when my mom was alive. But my mom had passed. And like, yeah, we're going to ride to Edna with him. And he lit up the weed, right? And he seen me hitting it. He's like, no, you're not doing it right, man. And because I'm used to watching people like hit the cigarette and blow it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's like, no, you're not hitting it right, man. And he showed me how to hit the weed right. And man, it was crazy. It was like every time we passed a telephone pole, I felt like something going through me. Wow. I knew my ass was high. I was like, man, okay, this is what that feels like. But I remember those days being young, trying to experience it. This is in like the early 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like 83 or something like that. I'm 53, just in case y'all need to know. So I got a little age on me. But this was like in the early 80s, man. And that experience was what opened the door for me to smoke. You know what I'm saying? So it had became a common thing for me, man. Like hitting the joint every now and again, or stealing a doobie out the ashtray or something like that from my big brothers and them and stuff like that, or my aunties and stuff like that. Yeah. When they finish doing what they do, I steal the doobie, run to the tunnels in Northside by the park and shit. The little park in Northside, man, I run to the little tunnels and try to find that little goddamn roach and shit like that.
You was going the extra mile, man.
Say, look, I was bad. I ain't gonna lie. My mom passed away, man. I had a little freedom, you know what I'm saying? Because my dad still had to work. So the neighborhood watched me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who knew me, you know, they looked over me, man. Like, this is Leroy's son, so we're gonna keep an eye on Creon, you know what I'm saying? So I was sneaky as hell, too, man. You know, like us, like, at 10 years old, what 10-year-old kids do today, they're weak. Right. And what I mean by like they're weak, they can't be outside by themselves.
They don't know how. They don't know how to play outside.
We would be all the way down on the T-head swimming or going fishing. It's a group of us. We're 8 from like 7 years old to like 10 years old. We're deep. So we ain't man. our parents didn't have to worry about us, man. We didn't have all the access to the things we have today, man. So wasn't nobody finna like try to snatch us up, man. We was from the projects, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not finna try to snatch 7 or 8 little project kids up, man. You something to get whooped, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were bad like that, man. Bad like that. Karate'd up, knew all the little tricks, and always had sticks or something with us. You know what I'm saying?
Hell.
So we were some wild little kids, man. We were some wild little kids. How long was like the use of marijuana? Was it when you first tried it? Was it like a regular thing in your life, or was it like an on and off thing?
It was on and off, and then like I don't even know when it started becoming like an everyday thing, because then like when I turned 16, I started. Well, yeah, that's when I turned 16, I started babysitting for like older people, like girls in their 20s and stuff like that. Y'all might know some of these girls, but shit, I used to get high with them, you know? If they're watching, they probably know who I'm talking about. They probably laughing at me right now. But, yeah, like, it became an everyday thing. And then I started spending money to get weed.
Yeah.
You know? I would go babysit on Fridays way over there off of Nile, and I'll call my homegirls over. And that was the thing. Oh, yeah, we're going to link up on a Friday. We're going to get high. We're going to drink a little bit. You know, we would have fun. Shit, it became an everyday thing.
It's crazy because like when I got to Miller, right, my dad used to give me lunch money every day. You know what I'm saying? So my goal was, I'm only going to spend half my lunch money.
Right.
I'm going to put the other half up. You know what I'm saying? So when Friday came, you know what I'm saying? We're about like, what was like a little 6-pack of ponies. They used to sell like the little Budweiser ponies, you know what I'm saying? We'll get us a little 6-pack of ponies, and at that time you can get like 3 for $5, some shit like that on the joint blast, or not even that. Back then you can get like $1 joints, you know what I'm saying? So I might have $10 or maybe $15 saved up. I give me and my partners, we'll buy our little ponies, we'll get our little beers, or we'll drink the little liquor bottles and stuff like that, man. That was we were waiting for the weekend to come. You know what I'm saying? We're waiting. Shoot, I take that back. That wasn't even at Miller, man. That was like at Haas.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Not Haas.
Yeah. I was at Haas like from like the 8th grade up, man, because that's when I started running real tough with Barron and Lily. So I'll make sure I save my little money, man. And me and Lily, we would go to the mall and freestyle.
Yeah.
And all the girls would want us to hear us rap. So we had this little freestyle rap called Driscoll Foundation.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Man, we just be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Man, they be tipping us. By the time we finish getting them tips, we be up to like $25. You know what I'm saying? So we were set for when we left the mall. Like, we already had our plan, what we gonna do. Man, we're gonna get my mama to go get us some beer, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna sit at the crib. We would walk around and smoke a little bit, but like when we drank our little beer or whatever, whatnot, we always sat in the house and did it. We didn't ever like be outside in public trying to drink a beer or something like that.
Right.
Wasn't nobody having that shit, you know what I'm saying? So those managed as we were, those were some good days for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Just growing up as a youth on the north side and just having some fun, man, or whatever, whatnot, man.
Right.
So what came after marijuana? What did you try to experience? Things that you experienced with? Because I come up with some Mexicans too. You know what I'm saying? So I dabbled in like acid a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That was really like a crazy high for me, man.
I've never tried acid, so I don't know what that's like. You know, that's crazy.
Man, one thing it did for me, man, like if I started laughing, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. If I started laughing, if they did something to make me laugh, man, I'm talking about I laughed for hours. And I'm talking about we all laughed. And before you know it, the sun will be down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We probably started this like about 4 or 5. Before you know it, it's already 10 o'clock and you don't even realize, man. It was just a I never like took the whole hit because, you know, they were more experienced.
Right.
I guess from being around their brothers or the community that they was from, or they kind of like culture like. So I would always take like a little half a hit and stuff like that, man. And I wasn't like where I would see anything like melting. The colors was just always bright to me, and like I would see like the straight, like if we passed the red light, just a stray of light. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know what I'm saying? But not really like well, it was super crazy.
Right.
But those was like some of the kind of like experiences I had. So what was some of the other things that you might have gotten into?
Loratabs. I tried Loratabs at a young age.
Before Xanax?
I never liked Xanax. I didn't like anything that was like that I couldn't control for real. Like I couldn't drink some milk and come off of it. Like I didn't like anything like that. But I've always been the type of person like I like to sleep, but I want to be able to wake up when I'm, and move, not be groggy. So at a young age, I tried Loratabs. And that wasn't a thing. It was just like whenever it was around, I could grab one, you know? So it wasn't an addiction, but it was something I liked, But the crazy part about all of this, Creon, is because from a young age, my mom, like, monitored medications. Like, she wouldn't give me certain things because addiction is hereditary in my family, So my mom wouldn't give me a lot of medication. So when I got my tonsils taken out, they give you that strong stuff to put you out. So that was something I was addicted to at a young age and didn't even know, I remember my mom leaving and me going in the cabinet and getting some more, getting a little extra, I always like to feel up. I feel like I always felt like I never really had motivation unless I was altered in some kind of way.
Yeah, I understand that. I think those are one of the reasons why like a lot of us even dabbled into drugs, because it gave us a sense of that little shell we been, or like that little shyness that we have it's easier to be a people's person or to associate with others when you're just a little intoxicated, when them inhibitions are kind of let down, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're able to get out some, you know what I'm saying? Open up a little bit. And I think that was like one of the things for me myself, man.
Yeah. And I feel like when they say weed is a gateway drug, for me it really was. It really was a gateway drug, because then I was like, well, what can I try with the weed that's going to make me feel like this, I experimented a lot, and then there was a point where I didn't do nothing but smoke weed and drink. That's it. I didn't do anything. And then I had car accidents, and then I made up pain in my head, and then I tried different things, I don't know. It just started, but it started young, though. It really did. Yeah. It started young. And the crazy part is, like, nobody on my mom's side of the family, like, smokes weed or smokes cigarettes like that. So it was hard to hide it. Yeah. I would go in the house and my mom would be like, why do you smell like cigarettes? Why do you smell like weed? And she could tell I'm high, but I'm like, no, I'm not high, like just lying. People would tell my mom, your daughter gets high. And I think my mom knew, but she never really as long as she's still in school, Yeah. But my mom used to get on my ass about, so you better not, and you better not be doing this. But I would still do it. It made me feel good, No. Like, I was not one of those kids that had a lot of trauma and stuff growing up. Everybody has their struggles growing up with a single parent. Everybody does. But I didn't have a lot of trauma and stuff growing up. So I didn't have anything to blame my weed smoking on. Well, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm, It was just something I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how it was me with marijuana too. And it was, a lot of it comes from watching others.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The adults. You know what I'm saying? And when I would see them smoking, they was never tripping or nothing like that. They was always having a good time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, shit, I want to have a good time too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was something that me and my friends would do to have a good time. You know, so I see. I didn't even myself, and I come from trauma, like abuse and all that. One of the reasons why I was adopted, but it wasn't why I smoked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I smoked shit because that's what everybody was doing, and I just wanted to be a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? To be with that kind of like type of in crowd. You know
Right. Well, I think for me, like, I did it because that's what everybody was doing, but I think I did it really just because, like, there ain't nothing else to do.
Yeah, boredom.
You know, right?
Yeah,
ain't nothing else to do. What are we gonna do? Run the streets in Lexington Manor and get high and do nothing? You know, that's what we did, right? That's what we did at Lexington Manor. Everybody was all outside. At Lexington Manor was a vibe, like.
No, I imagine it was, man. Especially in the 90s, 80s, 90s, and those little eras. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those little eras, man.
And this is when, like, I remember, like, before cell phones were a big thing, like, the parents were active with us. Like, they would sit outside with us. The parents would sit outside and do their thing, and we would do our own thing, you know? I remember one night, all the adults play hide and seek with us outside. It was like 1, 2 in the morning. You know, we've had water fights. Like, we had a good time growing up. So I don't even know why like I said, out of boredom, shit.
That's, I was kind of like that too, man. Like, my older brother, now they were older than me. I was adopted into this family, so they were old. They already had children who were older than me that had children. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And when I did drink, I sit and drink with them. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't gonna allow me to like be out in the streets drinking, even though I did, but it wasn't like in their face. It was always we're gonna be in one of the partners' house, or we're gonna be sneaking and doing this. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing that like we were gonna be doing in front of everybody to a point to where like we would get caught up or stuff like that. But you're right, like the parents were so active in everybody's lives back then because we didn't have access to computers, to laptops. There was no phones, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't even no pagers back then, you know what I'm saying? Pagers didn't start coming around to like I got to high school, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So even like if I seen like the older guys doing their thing or whatever, they were hustling or something like that, shoot, I go sit up under them, you know what I'm saying? They would always tell us like, man, don't be out here doing this shit without one of us around. Because nigga, especially if you went and bought your own little weed, because you don't know what's in that shit. So if you're gonna smoke, be around us. You know what I'm saying? So that way if something do happen, nigga, we can take you to the doctor or some shit like that. But don't be out here doing this and don't doing that, man. And you know, I think like in majority of families, like, you know, they come out of the hippie era and you know the Vietnam era and things like that. Smoking was like one of the main things. Smoking marijuana was like one of the main things that was being done, and I don't think nobody really seen too much harm in it. Now you did have those who was like, I don't want you, you know, parents that were like real strict about that, cause shit, my parents were strict about it. I was just sneaky as fuck.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? I never even, man, I swear, even up until the day my pops passed away, I lie. I would never, cause I knew how much it would break his heart if he knew I was doing anything. You know what I'm saying? He was like, Crown, they said you was doing it. I'm like, I don't mess around with that shit. I ain't talk to him like that. I'm like, I don't mess with that stuff like that. I don't do none of that type of stuff. So I got friends who do, but I don't indulge in that type of stuff. Well, you bet not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things like that. But for the most part, marijuana was the. You know what? For me, like, when I did dabble into like certain type of drugs, you know what they made me? You know what those drugs made me think was like, there's nothing better than weed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, if I tried this or I tried that, I'd be like, man, weed's better than this. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no down to it after you wake up. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with that certain type of feeling that comes from popping a pill or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I always like, man, I just rather smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? This shit here is a little too much. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that was a thing too. Like, I never thought, because I've always been a heavy weed smoker, right? So I never thought, I never thought that I would go through a time in life where I stopped smoking weed, you know? And I smoked weed for so long. Like, I was a big weed head. But then I started experimenting. I started putting morphine on the blunt, and I was doing all kind of shit. I was taking morphine, smoking the weed, like taking oxys. Like, I started experimenting, you know, and I would do it.
You really wasn't hanging around black people.
No, but I was doing for real. But I was doing this by myself, like.
Just curious?
Yeah, just to see, because I always like to feel floaty, you know? And I always like to feel like superwoman. That was always my thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want that motivation. I want to move. I want to be able, you know?
Yeah.
And so I experimented, and yeah. Then it went from that to tramadols. And that was... And that's tramadol. That's not, it's a narcotic, but it's not a Loratab. You know, it's not an oxy, but I went head over heels with the tramadol situation. Like, I was up there, and I was taking them all the time, every day. I was up to like 17 a day. I'm telling you, I was taking so many tramadols in one day. But I felt like at the time in my life, I was going through things, you know, we all go through trauma. We all go through things in life. How we cope with it is how we do things, you know? And that was how I coped with it, unknowing. Yeah. I didn't know, like, me falling deeper into this substance abuse was how I was coping with a situation that I didn't know how to handle, you know? So I just went overboard, and it was like, I was on tramadol for like 6-7 years, but prior to that, I was on synthetic marijuana. Yeah. So that was a thing, and that had a hold on me for real.
How did you come across, like, say, going from marijuana to the synthetic? Yeah, was it like probation or something like that?
No, just one night, me and a person, I don't even know how it happened. I got off work. And I tried it,
and I just. You were a weed smoker at that point?
I was a heavy weed smoker.
Okay. So it wasn't like you quit and needed a substitute. You were smoking weed prior to this.
Right.
Okay.
So then I tried the legal. I laugh, right? But I didn't get stuck on. I still kept smoking weed, and then I got a job opportunity. So I quit. I was like, I'm gonna quit smoking weed. I got on this kick, you know. Then I started smoking the legal. I didn't even get the job because my UA was dirty. I wasn't smart, you know. I started smoking legal every day. And I didn't even realize what it was doing to me. I didn't even realize what was going on. Like, things started happening. I had a car accident. I was going to school. I was at Del Mar too. And then I had a car accident. That's when things started going downhill. Yeah. And I still didn't let go of the legal. Then I was working at the hotel. Then I had a part-time job working at Memorial as a housekeeper. But due to the legal situation, I would have to get off work at the hospital, go find legal, and then hurry up and get back to the other side of town to get to the hotel. And I ended up losing my job, you know. And it was just downhill from there. Downhill. And what made me stop smoking legal is when we moved out of Lexington Manor. I was working at the hospital at Spawn South, and before I went to work that night, I smoked some legal, and I fell and I hit my head, right? It was a whole big thing at my house. My mom was mad. My mom was the one who found me on the balcony laid out, you know. And I remember my mom waking me up, and she picks up the legal suite, and she says, "This is the shit you want to do?" Like, and she takes it, she throws it in the trash, wherever she put it. And I was tripping that whole night. I went to work. I was throwing up. I knew my blood pressure was up. I didn't know what was going on. And that night, I never smoked it again. And then it took me a while to smoke weed because I was scared. You know, I was like, damn, is this going to put me in the same situation I was already in? Mm-hmm. And then I think like a month after, I finally smoked weed. And I was like, how did I stop doing this? Yeah. Yeah. Why did I stop doing this, you know?
When I was in prison, I think maybe this was like close to my last maybe year, getting ready to, you know, before I knew that I was getting ready to make parole. And we had got this guy in there from like, I think he was from Houston, or he was from one of those little small towns, man. I can't think of what town he had said he was from. And when he came in there, he was like, shit, wherever the unit that he came from, he was like, yeah, man, we smoked the fake weed. And I was like, no, he was like, we be smoking K2 on the other unit. I was like, what the hell is K2? I had never heard of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I was like, what is K2? He's like, it's like fake weed, man. We be smoking that shit. I was like, fake weed? What is it? Never. He would tell me all these little stories. So when I got out, I was working at this one place, man, and I had a Mexican partner. You know, we would go work out of town, and he would go to the heads. You know, when we work out of town, I'm the only one that really got a license, so
right.
I got access to the company truck. So we'll go like to the we was working in San Marcos, but we were staying in Kyle, in the hotels in Kyle. So we would go to like to the river, like to the, what is it called? It's by the college. It's like a little river right there. That's by the, yeah. So we would go right there, but he was like, man, stop. It's a head shop right here. Let's go by the head shop, right? I go there. He'll go get this little like potpourri looking type of stuff at that time or whatever like that, man. I was like, what is that, man? He's like, man, this is it was like in a pink bag or some shit like that. I forgot what the fuck they called it, man.
The strawberry one.
It was It was something, man. It was something, and man, like we'd be just sitting there. We'd be drinking on the 12 pack, like me, him, and like two other guys and stuff like that. We'd be drinking on the 12 pack and shit, because that's all I could really do. Drinking on the 12 pack, and it was like, man, hit it one time, Crown, and I like hit it one time. I was scared as shit. I ain't gonna even front. I hit it one time and feeling kind of mellow, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, that's enough for me, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And one time I had tried it here, like back home one time, man, and my heart went to racing like, I was like, fuck this shit, man. You know, I knew it was too close. It was like, it was real close to me, because when my heart started beating, man, I started making all kinds of duels to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, man. Like, it
got real, huh?
Yeah, like, for real, like, nah, man, I'm gonna just wait till I get off parole. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, anything that I tried, it just felt like nothing was better than marijuana, man. Or like everything got too much going on. Marijuana is just regular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially with the, you know, right before I went into prison, we were still smoking Reggie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hydro was out at the time, but you know, everybody couldn't smoke hydro. You had to have, your money had to be right.
That was a rich man's high back in the day.
Yeah, so like, when I would get off of work, because I was on the run, right? But I had a job that would pay me cash. So on Friday, I just go give me like 2 grams, you know what I'm saying? And I'll give me like 3 blunts, you know what I'm saying? And what I would do, I would unroll the blunt, break my little, like half of the gram inside of one of my blunts, roll it up behind the motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I would like do my thing. But shit, when I came home from prison, man, it was on and popping out here, man. I was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? So that was my kind of experience with that. I couldn't really fuck with that legal like that, man.
Yeah, I think I was on legal for like 2 years, maybe. 2 years, yeah. I had 2 car accidents off of legal, both totaled. Yeah. Legal did me in. It did. It did me in.
Accidents, like you fell asleep at the wheel and rear-ended people?
The first one, I hit somebody, and I don't really remember that one though. The second one, I was going up the freeway right there, when you pass Staples, when you're getting up on the freeway, I was going up on the freeway right there, and I hit a car that was stopped head on. And yeah. But only thing I walked away with was like knee contusions. I got hit in the face with the airbag. Like,
you hit the car pretty hard.
Yeah, my life has been spared multiple times. And when I sit back and think about it, it's all been from drugs.
Yeah.
None of this stuff has happened to me while I'm living like a normal human being, doing the right thing. You know, all of this happened to me when I was mixed up in a whole bunch of other bullshit. Because even though like you use, but it's the company you keep when you're using. You know, it's a lot going on. It's a different world, and you get caught up in things, and mentally you're not there because you're chasing a drug. No matter what it is. Yeah. You know, no matter what it is, people are addicted to food. Yeah. You know,
facts.
You're chasing something. Your mind is on that. You know, and it's sad every time I had a car accident, I was under the influence of something. I thank God every day though, because I could have been dead and gone plenty of times.
No, facts.
You know, plenty of times.
I remember when I went to Safe P, man, and we had a counselor that was there. She was in a wheelchair, and I'm thinking that like all these counselors are ex-addicts because for most part that's what they are, ex-addicts, but she wasn't an addict at all. Well, not like a drug addict at all. She was addicted to food. You know what I'm saying? Like she so much that she was in a wheelchair. So you can imagine how big this woman was. You know what I'm saying? She was real big. And she would explain to us about her addiction to being a foodie. She like, you know, when she get depressed, this is what she do, or like it got to the point to where that's all she wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? She was always cooking, always eating, always cooking, always eating, things like that. So addiction varies, man. There's so many type of addictions out here, man. That you know, even like I would tell her like I literally paid to go to Safe P. I literally paid to go to Safe P. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to give me 25 years, man. Right. So I went back to my lawyer. I was like, look, man, I smoke this. I mess with that. I do this shit like that, man. I need this type of help. Because at that time, I couldn't see myself trying to go do no fucking 25-year sentence. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I was already on probation out of Refugio. And I done picked up this case with here in Corpus Christi. So I know Refugio just ready to hang my ass. You know what I'm saying? So he pushed my court date back for a couple of years until there was no more pushing back. Until he actually pushed it back till the right judge came along that he was cool with. Right, you know right. It was like, man, we'll send this guy to Safe P and stuff like that. But one of the things that I knew that I had addiction for was hustling and money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I would try to explain to these people like, look, man, people are addicted to this game that we play out here, man. Like this game that when it comes to getting money, because I've dropped the weed, the alcohol, and the beer, all that shit to go hit the lick. Right. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the prices was when the lick was a nice size amount. I done walked out of concerts that I done paid $30 or $40 to get into. You know what I'm saying? And my favorite artist getting ready to come on, and my pager go off, and this for $750, or you know what I'm saying, $500, and I be like, man, I'll be right. My partners at the club, I'll be right back, man. I'm just gonna take care of this right quick. I'll be right back. By the time I go take care of my business and come back, shoot, that artist is already off stage. The concert is over with. Everybody's in the parking lot. So I had knew at an earlier time in my life that like chasing this money is an addiction too, man. Mainly when you come from poverty, man, and you're able to get some now. Cause shit, at one point I was working 3 jobs and I still couldn't take care of my goddamn family. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to do what I've seen the rest of my partners do: get in the game. You know what I'm saying? And once I started getting that money, it wasn't nothing that was going to interfere with that. Shoot, even relationships, it got to the point to where even I was careless with the love for my family. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't do nothing with my family. I stay at the crib and make sure I get this money. You know what I'm saying? Because I had been poor for so fucking long. I ain't want to go through that shit no more. I ain't want to ever see her struggle again. You know, my girl will want to go out. She like, man, let's go out. I like, shit, call your homegirls. Y'all go out. You know what I'm saying? Which, that should be opening doors to other shit too. But, you know what I'm saying? When you're not giving your woman the type of attention that you need to be giving them. But that addiction, that thing with addiction, that shit varies, man. It's a lot of different type of addictions out here, man. And a lot of these young brothers that's out here, niggas ain't even addicted to drugs. They're addicted to that fast fucking money, man.
Right, the lifestyle.
Yeah, and when you how can I say, like, when you get locked up, then come back out here, and you have to buckle down and get a job, like a real job, man. Say, man,
it's on you.
And sometimes that be hard, man, because you still watching some of your partners get it how they live. They ain't never got in trouble for what they was doing. They still was able to maintain without going to prison or anything like that, man. And here you is struggling with a paycheck every week. You know, you getting $700, $800 paycheck, maybe 5 or 6. You know what I'm saying? And you know, shit, I was making that in like 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? So just to even fight against that is like, man, it's tough. Shoot, to this day I still fight it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But for myself, I got more reason to be out here. Right. Prison is why I stay on the job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Keep me from venturing out like I used to be. 7 years, 3 months, that was enough for me, man. You know, I didn't think I would be gone that long, but shit, you know, state of Texas had other things on their mind. Right. So I get it and I understand it. You said you moved to Phoenix, man. What made you move out to Phoenix, man?
My ex and I, we moved. We talked about it one day. And then the next day we got a U-Haul. The next day we were leaving. Like literally, we talked about it on a Wednesday. Thursday got the U-Haul. Friday we were gone. And I like Phoenix. I don't like the people, but I like Phoenix. But I don't have any good memories from Phoenix. I don't have anything pleasant to say.
What was the experience like? Like give us some examples of like why you didn't have pleasant memories.
From the beginning, I remember, I don't know why I didn't realize I was moving to the desert like an idiot. I didn't even realize I was moving to the desert, no lie. So we're driving there. I drove the U-Haul there, right? And this is still during COVID and all this, right? And the first thing I noticed when I get into Phoenix is there's no trees. There's no trees. It's all rocks. Everything looks like it's made out of clay. Like, it's weird looking, you know? And I'm like, what is this, you know? So then I get into the city, and the city's dirty. Like, Corpus is probably dirty to some people, but to me, Corpus is clean. But out there, it's trash everywhere. I had never seen so many homeless people in my life. I had never seen so many people actively on drugs, on the street, just doing all kind of shit, right? And when I first got to Phoenix, we were staying with a family member, and we were inside. The only interactions I really had with people were going to like the grocery store. That's it. And the first interaction I had with somebody there, I was standing in line at the little check cashing place at the Fry's. And this guy, he's like my skin complexion. No, he's your skin complexion, right? And he has his hair in a ponytail. And he's talking to me. We're having a conversation because it's a long line, you know? And I'm from Texas. We talk to everybody. Yeah. So then he gets up in the line. He gets to the front and he tells the clerk that they need to have a separate line for specs and the N-word. And I'm like, what the hell? You were just talking to me. Like, it was weird, you know? And it really bothered me. It low-key hurt my feelings because I was like, that's how people treat people? And I had never experienced that before. Racism, anything like that, I had never experienced it before. And it was just different, you know?
Was he Indian?
Yeah, he was Native.
Oh, really?
And then, like, going to places, you know, you say hi to people. Hello, how you doing? It don't cost you nothing to say hi. Yeah. And people will tell you straight out, oh, I don't even have no money. I ain't got nothing for you. And I'm like, damn, just saying hi. Like, that's what we do. We speak. So I had to change who I was as an individual. Like, I couldn't be that outgoing, open person I was always used to being.
Ain't no Southern hospitality up that
Right.
way.
I couldn't be that person, you know? I had to really just learn people, understand people, you know? Because out here in Corpus, I feel like you kind of encounter the same people all the time. Yeah. You know, everybody knows everybody. But out there, it's just a different, it's a different way of living. Everything is fast. It's faster, you know? And you don't really meet genuine people. You know, everybody has their hand out. Everybody has an expectation, you know? They feel a sense of entitlement, you know? And I didn't even know Arizona's like the state of the scammers. I didn't even know. You know? And, but I learned a lot in Arizona. Like, it sucks the way it happened, but I learned a lot, you know? I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about life, understanding, you know? I never really had to like deal with situations alone. You know, I always had like my mom and stuff like that, you know. When I went through it, I was going through stuff within the family. Yeah. I never went through nothing on my own, you know. And this gave me a chance to just see how strong I was as an individual, you know. I like Arizona, the city. I don't really care for the people. I did meet some nice people eventually at some point along the way, you know. But it's just a different way of living. Everything's different. Everything. The heat, everything's different.
I imagine it is, man. You said ain't no trees, ain't nothing for no shade out there.
Right.
Things like that, man. It's and you know what? I guarantee you, like, cause even like being up in when I was in Safe P, I was in like Plainview, Texas. Mm-hmm. I was in Plainview, Texas at this unit called JB Wheeler. And you know, meeting guys, they were like from El Paso, they was from like Lubbock, areas all in that region, right? And a lot of guys had never seen the beach.
Right.
They'd never seen a palm tree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, because I would always like, crazy what it was watching Cops. Mm-hmm. And somebody's like, say, Creon, they got your city on Cops, right? And like, you got all these people in there watching TV and they pass by the water. And it was like, man, that's where you're from? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man. Because, you know, they see boats, you know what I'm saying? Right. They see boats docked. They see the Lexington. They see the Harbor Bridge. It's like, man, this is where you're from. Like, they're willing to break their necks to get down there. But I'm like, nigga, that ain't shit but Corpus Christi. You know what I'm saying?
That ain't even all of it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all they ain't showed y'all the hood or nothing like that. But, like, a lot of people don't even see those type of things, man, or have yet to experience those type of things. And especially Southern hospitality. Once you get out of Texas or from the Southern region, man, everybody's kind of mean, man.
It's different.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And in Arizona, you meet a lot of people that have never left Arizona. They have never been anywhere outside of Arizona, you know? And they ask a lot of questions. What's Texas like? What's this like? Oh my God. And you ask them, why? How come you never left? You know? Why? You know? And they're like, well, this is all I know. And then I think about me, you know, what if I had never left Corpus? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that Corpus this would have been all I knew. Yeah. You know, I'm glad that I got to experience life on my own terms. I really, really am. I'm not going to say all my times were completely bad. Yeah. That's not what I'm going to say. But what I will say is the lifestyle it was detrimental. It was not healthy.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of exposure to different things that I had never been exposed to. You know, you see shit on TV and Facebook and YouTube, but it's different when it's up close and personal.
Yeah.
You know, and I experienced, and I was working at a behavioral wellness, and in Arizona, it's integrated health. So you get all your treatment, you get your primary care physician, everything all in one.
Yeah.
You know, your psych services, everything all in one. They do everything right, services, everything right. So I'm working with these types of people who are actively in addiction, and they're struggling, you know, and every day I'm going to work and I'm seeing this, you know, and it's weighing on me mentally because I can't leave it at the door. I'm taking it home.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't have anybody to
a support system.
Yeah, I didn't have anybody to talk about it with, you know. I didn't have any friends, you know, like I tried, but like I said, friendships weren't
authentic.
Yeah, they weren't. So I dealt with a lot. Then I got transferred to another clinic, which was it weighed even more on my mental because now it's just me dealing with all these people. I don't have the support at a bigger clinic, you know?
Yeah.
So that's when my mind started getting curious and I started getting overwhelmed. What's that word they say now? Overstimulated?
Yeah.
I hate that word. But that's what I started going through. And at the time, I wasn't doing anything. I was, you know, probably smoking weed, and it's legal in Arizona, you know. But I rode the bus every day for 6 to 8 weeks, 2.5 hours to work, 2.5 hours home, right? And my bus ride was clear through the city. So that's how I learned my way around Arizona. So when I got my car, I didn't need no GPS.
Yeah.
You know? And that was how I started getting out and meeting people and asking questions. But prior to that, I was already dibbling and dabbling and doing what I was doing because we stayed in a hotel for 6 to 8 weeks. And in Arizona, and I don't know if it's like that here because I ain't never stayed in really too many hotels here in Corpus, but hotels are where people live.
Yeah.
Like in Arizona, hotels are like apartment complex, you know, or they have apartments where you rent daily, like Airbnb type stuff, you know. So we stayed in a hotel for 6 to 8 weeks, and again, I started feeling overstimulated, overwhelmed, and that led me to experiment with other things, you know. All of a sudden, the weed wasn't doing it for me. And I seen how other people out there were, you know.
Coping.
Yeah. And I had never been away from home. I had never been away from my mother, nobody in my family. I had never been away, you know. That was the furthest I had ever been, you know. And it was just different. I felt like a dog off a leash. Like, I can really be out here and do what I want to do, and ain't nobody going to know about it, and can't nobody tell me nothing about it. And that was what I thought. That was what I thought, literally. And then my life just completely just did a whole 360. Like, it happened so fast, like it was rapid, you know? I feel like mentally, you know how people say, you are who you hang with or whatever,
Yeah.
like, I guess birds of a feather.
Flock together. Yeah.
So while I'm actively in my addiction, right, I'm seeking fentanyl.
Yeah.
I start getting to know the homeless. I mean, I know all the homeless people. I'm going to the little spots. I'm up in apartment complex. I'm doing all kind of shit just to get these pills, right? Yeah. The pills that are killing people, literally. Yeah. But for some odd reason, I think I'm exempt. I ain't worried about it. I'm good. I got a high tolerance. You know, I've been doing this for years. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. That's how I was feeling, you know? And I thought I was different because while people were smoking these pills, I was just taking them by mouth, right? And everybody's like, no, you're not supposed to do that. That's how you die. And I'm like, well, you're smoking them. That's straight to the head. But if I'm taking it by mouth, my body is metabolizing it, you know, and we all had our little theories, you know, but I feel like I groomed myself for my situation, if that makes sense. Like I kind of prepared myself for something, not knowing that's what I was doing. And
not to cut you off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you finish your story. How did you feel the first time you tried it?
So the first time I tried it, I was we were staying at a Motel 6, right? And I had got cool with some people, and I was in pain. I don't even remember for what, making up shit, you know. And this girl was like, well, I got something that'll help you. And I was like, well, what is it, you know? And at the time, I didn't know that it was blues. I thought they were just straight oxys, right? So I Google it, whatever. And I just see where it says oxy, fake, or whatever. But I'm like, oh, shit, I'll be all right. So I take half of it, right? And that night, I'm supposed to be going to the Fry's, and you have to walk like 1.5 miles once you get off the light rail to get to the Fry's, the grocery store, right?
I was just going to ask you, what's the Fry's?
Right. So I'm fucked up on the light rail. Before we get there, I mean, and I just took half.
So this is in the form of what's supposed to be Oxycontin, are you saying?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
So she's not marketing it to you as fake. She's telling you, I got something for your pain. This is an Oxycontin.
No, she told me it was blues, but this was before I knew about it.
So the name she used was blues.
Yeah.
So she didn't say nothing about Oxy or Perk or nothing. She just said, I got some blues.
I Googled it.
And you Googled blues.
No, I Googled the label on the pill. It was the M30s.
Okay. Because
the pills look like they come from the pharmacy.
Yeah.
You know, they look like it. They have the label, you know?
Yeah.
Google, what do you see on Google?
When I Googled it, I saw the fentanyl, how they were fake pills, all kind of stuff, right?
So it says straight off top.
Yeah, it lets you know what it was, what it's labeled as, you know?
You just bucked the system.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
She just bucked the system, man. You wanted what you wanted.
Yeah, I was a weirdo. Yeah. For real. I was a weirdo. I was. And I was so messed up, y'all. I'm walking to the Fry's, and at the time my partner's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm good. You know, I'm good, because I don't want nobody to know I did this, you know. And then we get in the Fry's, and I'm like, I'm going to let you get the stuff. I got to go sit down. Like, I was so messed up off half a pill, right? So then I come down off of it. Then I get back to the room. And then I take the other half like an idiot. Because mind you, I'm zooted. I feel lively, you know, but I'm just tired. Yeah. But it was one of those things for me that I knew that I just have to build up a tolerance for this. And that's what got me thinking.
You didn't like, okay, you seen what a half did you like, well, fuck it, I'm going to take a quarter this time.
The way I compare it to, Cree, I think about this back in our day. We see a nigga smoking some wet, and we see the nigga that's rolling all over the floor, the nigga that's laying there butt naked and shit. That's the one we want.
Yeah, that's the one the nigga want. That's what a nigga want. That shit. What a nigga that's chilling. You know, we want the shit that
yeah.
We want the cook for real. No, facts, man, facts.
So that was the first time, right? And I didn't do it again for about 3 weeks, right? And by this time, now I got a plug. This is just all bad. Now I got a plug. And he was legit. You know, you can call him at the drop of a dime. He was coming. And once I got to rolling with these things, like the second time, I was like, okay, I'm going to try a tiny piece. Like, I eased my way into it, you know. And after that, I kind of learned how to take them and how to tolerate them. And then I just went in head first. Like, it was just like a dive in. And like I said, for some reason, I thought I was exempt. I'm seeing what this stuff is doing to people. I'm seeing what it's doing to people, you know. People all at the bus stop. I'm seeing what it's doing to the homeless, you know. I'm seeing it. And for some odd reason, I thought I was exempt because I had a job. Now I got a vehicle. I got an apartment, you know. Life is okay, but life is not okay at the same time. So then it starts where now I'm hanging out in the spots, like waiting for my partner to get off work. There's a whole 3-hour time frame in the middle. So now I'm hanging up at the store with everybody. You know, I'm down at the hotels, chilling, getting lit, you know, having fun, getting to know people, the wrong people. And life just really just turned upside down. Like, and it happened so quick, like boom, boom, boom. It was a really weird, heartbreaking experience.
And you know what? Not to cut you out, but you're not the only one who feels like that though. Like that part about being exempt. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people like people who at times smoked crack, because I had dealt with a lot of people, right? Some people, those who were able to maintain their jobs, go to work every day, you know what I'm saying, make sure their bills was paid, their kids was taken up. They didn't see themselves as the one who's like, as compared to the one that was homeless, that was dirty, or like couldn't maintain. They were just like, it's got them, it don't got me. But you don't see yourself, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it be like. A lot of times we don't see ourselves because, you know, at one point dip was my drug of choice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I still went to the cleaners. I still was hustling. You know what I'm saying? I was still having money. I was still doing all the things that some of my partners who couldn't maintain, you know what I'm saying, wasn't able to do. But sometimes I found myself in their position. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got kind of carried away and I had to kind of like snap back. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, so many of us, when we're caught up in our addiction, we don't even know we're addicted. You know what I'm saying?
You're in denial.
You're in big denial.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You really think you're still that type of guy. You know what made me quit smoking dip?
What?
We went to Tequila Boom one night. And you know how the camera lady will walk around with the camera, they take the Polaroids, right? And we was all on it, right? This group was like it was me and my 2 other homeboys and like 3 other homegirls, right? We all on the deal. I'm like, man, let's take a picture. And I noticed this off the rip. The lady came through, took the picture. I gave her the $5 for the picture. I'm over there doing this thing like that. Man, I looked at that picture, man. I was like, hell no. I know I don't look like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to see it for myself because even like looking in the mirror, I still thought I was cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm getting dressed and doing all the things I do. But when I looked at that picture, man, and I seen all of us, I'm woman conscious, put it like that. Like, I got to be on my best shit in front of the women. You know what I'm saying? Like, during this time of my life, I got to make sure I'm clean. You know what I'm saying? I got to make sure I'm presentable. I got to make sure they like this nigga, Daddy Cree. You know what I'm saying? when I seen that fucking picture, man, I was like, ain't no fucking way, man. It was like me telling everybody, man, why y'all letting me walk around like this, man?
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, man, why y'all letting, man, y'all supposed to be my peoples, man. Why y'all out here letting me look like this in front of everybody, man? But nigga, they own it too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody own it. You know what I'm saying? It was just, this is when, you know, the X was popping and niggas was smoking dip and, you know, some niggas was dabbling with the cocaine and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? These different type of things. Nigga, reason why ain't nobody ain't said nothing because, nigga, we all on something.
Right.
We all think we're prime rib. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody
help nobody.
Can't nobody really... Facts, right? Can't nobody help nobody, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody do nothing for nobody because we all got our addictions. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy, man, that, you know, we'll put ourselves through the things, man, and really think we still on our best shit, man, when really, man, we hurting ourselves. The people who don't even fuck around that love us, you know what I'm saying? And they know, like, man, this motherfucker ain't gonna stop doing nothing until they lock his ass up or he has a traumatic experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Trust me, I know, because I literally lost every damn thing and I was still like, no, I'm gonna be okay. I'm good. I'm all right. Knowing damn well I was not okay. I mean, back to what you were saying about functional addicts, like people who do their drugs and they go to work and stuff like that. I was functional for the most part until I wasn't functional anymore. Yeah. This drug had you to the point where if you didn't have that first thing in the morning, you were going to have a bad day and you couldn't be without it for more than an hour.
How long does the high last?
For me, ingesting them, taking them by mouth, I would 6 hours, you know.
That's one whole pill?
No, I would take 2, 3 sometimes. I built up a tolerance. And, but compared to people that smoke them, people put them on a tray and they smoke them and it's like 3 or 4 pills at once and they're just going, you know.
What do you mean by smoking them?
So they use the foil and they take a straw. They call it a tutor, and they.
Oh no! They'll burn that foil and
they burn the bottom of the foil and the pill slides. Yeah, they hit it.
So it basically takes all the cut shit out, and it's like in its pure form. What you say?
I guess you go straight to sleep after you smoke it.
Like it builds up like a gas, like a smoke, and they inhale that smoke.
Right. And whoever thought you could smoke a pill? That shit's weird as hell. Whoever thought you could smoke a pill? Nobody. You don't go to the doctor and they tell you, oh yeah, smoke this, it'll help you. Smoke this pill, it'll. I ain't never heard of no shit like that. That was a weird thing for me. So that's why I was like, I'm not going to smoke it. I'm already doing this messed up drug. I'm not going to smoke it, you know. But I built up a tolerance for it. And it got to the point where I remember leaving work and going to the emergency room because I was dope sick. And then getting to the emergency room and realizing, well, fuck, my job is going to know because they pay my insurance and we're in the same hospital. And I'm leaving out the ER, jumping in my car and just 86 in the whole thing. You know, it was that bad. I would leave work. I wasn't even supposed to leave the clinic for more than 30 minutes. And I would leave. If I didn't have what I needed and I couldn't get anybody to come to me, I would go look for it, you know. And looking for it consisted of pulling up on random people at the store, driving into alleys, going down into the canal where all the homeless people were. Yeah, man. All kind of shit. Damn. Just taking all kind of risk. And I was okay with it though because I wasn't scared. Like I wasn't worried about it. You know, I wasn't from Arizona. You know, but I never let people in my car and stuff like that. You know, and then like if I would pull up on somebody at a store and I would go back to the store, I would only deal with that person because you have to be careful with these pills because all these pills were different. You know, all these pills were different. I've seen people fall out and hit the ground. We've had to Narcan them, you know, And but I couldn't work. I didn't have any kind of emotional regulation. I lost my temper at work. Me and another coworker ended up getting into, like, these are the things that happened while in my addiction. Like, this was the beginning. Yeah. A normal person would have been like, whoa, what's going on? Like, let's examine this situation, let's see what I'm doing wrong. Yeah. But a person in their addiction, they're just going to say, fuck it, the world's coming down on me and I'm just going to roll with it.
Fuck yeah.
And that's literally what I did. The hell with it. I don't need this job. It is what it is, Found another job. Now I'm smoking meth in the restroom at work.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Like, what type of people are you buying this from? Because I'm thinking, like, okay, you're in Arizona, and I'm thinking, like, not to be putting people's names out there or nothing like that, but
no.
Crack is something you're normally going to buy, like, from a black dude, maybe a Mexican.
No,
like, are these college kids? Like,
these are old school niggas.
Like
these
black
are
people?
these are black people. The blacks are the ones. The blacks and the Mexicans and the whites. Everybody had it. Everybody had it.
Everybody hustling.
Yeah, that's what made it so easy. It was one of those drugs that was so easy to come by. I could leave from here and walk a block, and there's somebody with a backpack, and you already know. Blue heads know blue heads.
Yeah.
So you already know, and you walk up on them, and they got what you need. It was so easy to maintain this habit.
Well, like any of the dudes that were selling, were they on the shit they sells too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But they would lie though. They would lie. They would lie out. I remember one old school cat used to tell me, man, I hit it every now and then because my knees be hurting. And then you see him a couple of days later, he's passed out off the blues. Like, your knees was hurting that bad, But you see people, everybody has a decline.
Yeah.
And it's different. And it even in the homeless people, you see them go from homeless, backpack, clean. Then you see them go from dirty to no backpack. Then you see them go from delusional to dirty, nothing at all, just walking around looking like death, Like, it's a decline, and it happens so fast, and it's all off of this.
That shit down to make a nigga want to cry, dog.
Right, and it's all off of...
I ain't even tripping, man.
All off of one drug. And the thing for me is... I'm okay. I'm not addicted. If I wanted to get off of this, I could. So what I did was I tried Suboxone, but I didn't go to the doctor for it. I got it from somebody I knew, and I didn't even look up no directions, no nothing. I just took it, right? And I put myself into precipitated withdrawal, which means your body gets shocked and you start having withdrawals like really, really bad, like quick. You feel like something's coming out the back of your neck. It's horrible, And the whole time, I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. So I take more Suboxone. And I'm so sick, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, how do I fix this? What do I do?
Because what is Suboxone?
It's a medicated assistant treatment. It's like another. It's
people that are on like opioids, real tough.
Right.
That to get off of opioids.
Like methadone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If you take opioid while you're on that, it's over.
Right. So the thing with Suboxone is it occupies and sticks to the receptors of the brain, right? Mm-hmm. So when you take it and you're already actively on something, it starts pulling that off your brain cells.
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying.
So it makes you start withdrawing,
I see what you're saying.
And that's what happened. And I literally had to say, fuck it, I got to chance it. I had to go and I had to get pills. I had to take the pills. I even tried to smoke the pill. And that's the only way I felt better. And in that moment, I was like, maybe I'm too deep in this. Maybe I just can't get off this on my own, And then, like, speaking to family and stuff like that, it too bad I couldn't go to rehab. I was working at the time. You know, I couldn't do that.
At the time, are you still with your? Mm-hmm. And how she's
it was bad.
She's fucking around too, or she don't fuck around.
No, she didn't use drugs at all.
And she's dealing with you and
right. God. Imagine the hell.
God.
Imagine the hell, right? And I did some shit, you know, and
she stuck through the whole shit. What for the most part, you know what I'm saying?
For the most part, I hid it for a long time, and then one day I got fed up, and I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm addicted to fentanyl." Like I just threw it out there. I did, and then I felt like a fool because I'm like, "Why did I say anything?" You know, now people are gonna be judging me, this, that, and the other. But then I had to take on a whole nother act. Then I had to pretend like I was getting help, and I'm taking the medicine, but I'm still doing all the same old things, but I'm working overtime.
You done stepped up your conniving game.
Right. You know but let me tell y'all what I did though. I went and I joined an online rehab. An online rehab where you have virtual appointments. And they send you the kit. You have to UA, test, everything. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't matter as long as if you had drugs in your system, they still gave you the medication you needed, you know, as long as the levels weren't real high or whatever, you know. And so I had all this Suboxone. I'm acting like I'm taking it. I'm not taking it because I had already said, fuck that. I'm not messing with that stuff no more. And now I'm trading that for the blues. Because the people on the streets are like, shit, I know I'm probably going to go to jail at some point, so I want to make sure I have Suboxone so when I go to jail, you know. Yeah. But yeah, man, it was weird. It was a strange little life. And there was some points I had a lot of fun though. Like in the beginning, I had fun. In the beginning, everything leading up to it was hell. Then when everything just took off, boom, I'm out there. I had fun for about 3 months. And then life got different.
Life got real.
Life got real different.
Life like a mother.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I can say for the most part is everything adding up to it. It was like, now I can't just use the fentanyl because that puts me to sleep. You know, I'll doze off. No. And mind you, I have fell asleep a couple of times at work. Like, dozed off, you know. So now I'm experimenting with methamphetamine because now I got to stay awake. I want to enjoy my high, but I also want to stay awake. I also want to be able to function, you know? So then I began getting desperate. When I didn't have the fentanyl, I made sure I had the meth. So now I'm at work in the restroom getting high. You know, it was just...
How was you consuming that?
I was smoking it at first, and then I started shooting up. And that was the main thing. I enjoyed that a lot. But it was all really, really reckless. And there was so much that led up to it. Like it wasn't something that just happened overnight. Yeah. You know, there was things that led up to it. Right? Like people think that when people turn to drugs, it's because that's just something they want to do. Sometimes people go through things in life that they can't explain, or there's just no words for it. So they turn to something, you know, and it takes you over. It does. It does. And emotional instability can make you turn to substance. Just feeling rejection and disappointment and disapproval and just feeling alone. Yeah. You know, especially in the moment when you realize that your whole world just fell right before your eyes. You know, and you wish you could have went back and stopped it. Yeah. But you can't. Everything's already played out. Everything's already done.
And it's an emotion, you know.
Right. And there's no coming back from it. And you can't blame a person for not wanting to be in a situation with an addict.
Oh yeah.
You can't blame a person for. In the moment, I can. You know, I can't imagine. I don't even know what it would be like to see myself behave the way that I have behaved. You know, just going through things and being
if you had a visual
right
of what you went through the past 5 years, and somebody here's all on tape. Whitney, watch this.
Man, look. And you know what? There's some nights I'll be asleep and I'll wake up and I'll go to the restroom, whatever, and I will remember things and I will feel like such shame and guilt, like it's so real. You know, like I feel there's things I forgot about, like, and I'm like, damn, Whitney, you behave like that. But when you're in your addiction,
you don't know no better, man.
Right? Like you can't, you don't know how you're gonna be from a day to day basis, you know. And even being on those drugs, sometimes you don't have good experiences, you know.
A lot of bad things happen, especially to women when they're like that, man. They get abused, they get used, they get trafficked, all different type of things. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot. And out there in Arizona, there is a lot of sex trafficking, and there is a lot of prostitution, and you know, so a person could get caught up in that lifestyle trying to supply their habit or whatever. But I found other means to survive. I didn't have the stomach for that lifestyle, and I don't think I could do it. Like I couldn't do it.
That's good.
You know,
that's good, man. That's
like
good, man.
There was other ways to survive
because it's women here in Corpus that's doing it. They ain't addicted to nothing but the money, man.
Right.
That's fact. They ain't addicted to shit, but the money that come with it, man. So.
Right. But you know what's crazy? The first person that I met, like, on the streets that taught me a lot was a prostitute.
Say, I ain't gonna lie, them some of the most knowledgeable individuals, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, bro.
She was an older lady. I mean, she was an older lady, but she was a big, fine older lady. Right. I'm talking about like old school fine, you know. And she taught me a lot. Like, there was certain situations, like, because I'm from Corpus. Yeah. Come on now. You know, like, I don't know nothing about the streets for real. You know, I had never really been on the streets, you know. Yeah. So she taught me a lot. She did. But one thing I learned about dealing with people out there, you're trying to form relationships with other addicts, and y'all's minds ain't right. There's going to be a lot of disagreements, fights, and arguments. There's never going to be a friendship there. It's always going to be about drugs, you know? And that was a lot of my encounters. Met people just for drugs. Oh, you do drugs? Let's do drugs together, you know? There was no meaningful relationships. Life was different. It was hard. It was a struggle. The things we take for granted, like a door with a lock on it, a restroom, you know, a refrigerator, a sink with water. Like, these are the things we take for granted, you know. I don't know how many restrooms I got put out of in Arizona. Mind you, the homeless go in the restrooms and they get put out for smoking fentanyl. I got put out for trying to get clean in the restrooms, you know? And it was so hard trying to survive and make it. Like, every day was an adventure, every day. And you learn. You learn where to go, when to go, who to deal with, who not to deal with, you know?
And during this time, did you have a place to stay, or were you just like in and out of wherever?
In the beginning, I stayed with a friend for like a week, I think, maybe like 2 weeks at the most. Then after that, I stayed in my car for 2 months. And then after that, I was on the streets, like, completely. Because my transmission locked on my car. It was just a whole lot going on, you know? And So I was just thrown out into the streets. So
from Texas, not from Arizona, don't know a goddamn soul, and you just outside.
Yeah. So, but keep in mind, I told you I had met all the homeless people, so
Yeah.
I knew people,
Yeah.
you know, on the streets. So my homeboy, a guy that I knew, he came, he got me, and he took me to his apartment or whatever, right? But I was uncomfortable because I'm a drug user. People don't like blues around their house. Like, it was a thing. Like, people didn't do blues. It was like, no, we don't want that around. Because people were getting, like, life for these pills, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Ooh.
I go to the...
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, what you?
No, I'm just like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
she like people's getting life for these pills, and I'm just like, you know, just even being an addict, taking a chance of going and get that shit, and just thinking the police pull you over, nigga, you fuck around and get life, but I'm not selling this shit.
Yeah.
I'm out here fucking with this shit.
But you know,
Yes.
that's why I never worried about that, like run-ins with the law, because I didn't have a record. I didn't have a record. I had never been in trouble before. So I wasn't worried about that. You know, they ain't gonna mess with me. And then I wasn't, in the beginning, I was clean. I wasn't walking around with bags, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just looked like a person that was coming from down the street, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't look like a homeless person, so I didn't have those type of run-ins until later on.
Yeah.
But, what was I saying? Yeah, so, what was I saying before that?
But
The guy you had, the guy that let you move in.
Yeah,
you
he got
basically
you out
wanna
the
stay
street.
there with him too long because you said you didn't want him to know about the blues.
About the
So-
blues.
Right, yeah. So after that, I took my stuff and I went to the laundromat, right? Because at this point, I'm like, I'm in the hood. I know somebody's going to come through that has what I need. I go to the laundromat. All the blue smokers are in there, you know? So now we're all in the laundromat. 4 or 5 days goes by. We're all in the laundromat. Everybody's high, chilling. This is a thing. Everybody's chilling in the laundromat. So now I'm like, maybe I can get accustomed to homeless life. Now in my mind, I'm like accepting it, which is the wrong thing.
yeah.
But it's the drugs, because I know if I go inside, I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do, you know? Like, it's going to be hard. So, yeah, man, I never stayed with anybody for like longer than a week. There were people along the way that helped me. Like, I had a lady that helped me one time. Thank God for her. But I messed that up because I was in my addiction. And this lady was helping me. Like, she was making sure I had everything I needed, you know. But I never stayed with anybody for longer than a week. I couldn't. Because it got hard. Like, say this person that I say would, like, take the lady, for example, she stayed 30 minutes outside of Phoenix. I don't know nobody in this little town, so how am I going to get from there to Phoenix every day to get what I need? You know? So I couldn't. I had to be mobile. I had to be able to get out and do what I needed to do. Like, it was that bad, you know? Like, I didn't care.
And I ain't trying to cut y'all. Like, because I know you and we have a friendship, man, like, this is hard for me, man.
Yeah, it's different.
Because and the reason why I'm saying, because you're somebody I know, and never in my wildest dreams would I think, you know, this is what Whitney would probably go through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you're back, though, man. I'm glad you're doing better and all that, man.
I am too. I'm glad to be back too. I didn't want to come back for a while. I couldn't because I didn't feel like I was going to get the help. Yeah. I know that I wasn't going to get the help that I needed, you know, but a lot happened and I still didn't stop what I was doing. I had a blood clot hit my lung. I passed out in a tent. We had been outside all day. It was probably like 117 degrees that day, and we were inside of a tent. And there's more than 8 of us, right? But this is what you do.
Yeah.
You know, we're all getting lit. And now I'm not taking them by mouth anymore. I'm smoking them. Because if I'm out, it's easier for me to get a fix from somebody who smokes them. Because, you know, it's just easier. Because I can't say, hey, can I get one? You know?
I was just going to throw you.
Right. No, they don't do that, you know? So I'm in a tent. And I fall asleep because that's what happens. You go to sleep. And I wake up, and me and one of the guys, we start arguing, right? Going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just leave. So I get up. And when I get up, I just black out and I hit the ground, right? And I don't know what's going on. I come to like 2 minutes later, they said, right? And I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking maybe I'm dope sick, right? Of course, that's the first thing I go to. But they're thinking that I faked this. I faked this because I wanted them to give me pills, but I don't need you to give me anything. I got my own shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm trying to smoke. I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. So I said, screw it. I'm not messing with that no more tonight. I fell asleep. I woke up the next day. I got on the bus. My friend helped me to the bus, and she's dead now. She died from an overdose. But she helped me to the bus, and I got on the bus. I ended up getting off at a bus stop, and I had this guy call the ambulance for me. And they didn't want to take me because my vitals were normal, everything, but I couldn't breathe, you know? So I told them, I said, no, y'all need to take me because something's not right. So I get to the hospital. I ain't laid in a bed in I don't know how long. I fall asleep, right? The doctor comes in, she wakes me up, and she says, Whitney, I don't know how you survived, but you are a very sick young lady. You had a blood clot hit your lung, and you have hundreds of blood clots floating in your chest, you know? So I'm looking at her like, what? You know, and this is because of my lifestyle. These are the drugs that I'm doing because fentanyl makes your legs swell, right? And I don't know if you ever seen people, if you get a chance, Google it, but look up people who are on blues, their legs, they get this big, right? And they end up with, what's that heart situation? An enlarged heart. Yeah. They end up with heart problems because your body's not circulating. Yeah. And that's what happened with me. My legs got real swollen. Like my legs were so swollen, it was like I was walking around myself. It was bad. And I still didn't stop. I let them give me that blood thinner. They gave me a blood thinner, 12 hours, did another CAT scan, all that. Everything was dissolved. I AMA'd out the hospital. Cussed out the doctor, the nurse, AMA'd out the hospital. Left, right? Because now I'm like, at this hospital, they were giving me something to help me with the withdrawals. They were giving me oxys, right? But that's nothing when you're on fentanyl. That's not even touching you. You're just okay for the moment, you know? So I'm literally putting myself through my body through all of this trauma over a drug that's literally killing me. Like it's taking me out slowly. And this is only the beginning. You know, I was hospitalized 3 times. 3 times behind these drugs. I got stopped one day. I'm sitting at this hotel, man. And it's bad because now I've left from Phoenix. Now I'm in the suburb in Mesa because I would jump through the different little towns because you could take the train clear through, you know. So I would go to different places. So I'm at the hotel. I had just got everything I needed, this, that, and the other, and I sit down like an idiot. Why did I do that, knowing that this is one of the hottest motels? I shoot up. The cop pulls up on me. He pulls up on me. I got the needle right there, right? And he gets out and he knows my name because now I'm hanging with everybody, you know. And he said, so if I take that needle in and test it right now, it's going to come back for insulin because I told him I was diabetic and I had to sit down and take my insulin, you know. And I said, yeah, here, take it. I just took a chance. I didn't know what else to say, and I'm higher than a kite. I got you know, I'm really risking my freedom behind these drugs. Like going without food, you know? Just, I remember not being able to find it for a little bit and sitting in the same spot for hours waiting for somebody to come. And you don't want to leave because you don't want to miss anybody that comes through.
Tell us the story about the cop. Finish that story. What happens when the cop rolls up?
So that's what I was saying. I gave him the needle. He said, if I take the needle, is it going to come back for insulin? Because I told him, you know, that I had to take a shot because I'm a diabetic. You know, I'm not diabetic, thank you, God. But I told him, I said, yeah, he believed me. He was like, okay, cool, whatever. But keep in mind, I didn't have a record. They had never seen me doing drugs, you know? They just knew this girl hangs out with all the homeless people out here. They didn't know if I was homeless or not, but they see me every day, you know? But then it got to the point where now they know you're a homeless person.
Yeah.
So now they're picking with you. I got tackled by 2 cops. Mind you, you ain't got to tackle me. I can barely walk, okay? And at the time, I could barely walk. And I had a warrant out, so I was using one of those little walkers so they wouldn't take me to jail, right? So I'm sitting on the walker, but I have the pills in my hand, whatever, and the cop comes at me and I eat him, and he tackles me. Both of them tackled me. Like, I was putting myself through all of this behind these drugs.
Was you fronting with the walker?
Yeah, I was fronting with it. I didn't want them to take me to jail. I didn't want them to take me to jail. And you have to improvise. When you're on the streets, you have to improvise. We know that part. You don't want to go to jail. And the one time I did go to jail, it was horrible. I went to jail one time for 24 hours. Never again. Never again. No. That was the first time I had literally...
Was it like a detox thing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just took you in there so you can come down and then let you out.
Well, it happened when I had just got out the hospital. So they took me right when I got out the hospital. And when they took me in, I started detoxing within like 5 hours. When I got out, I was so sick. It was horrible. And that was the first time I had experienced a detox of that magnitude, you know? But, things just kept getting worse and worse. And then life is different out there because you're dealing with different types of people, you know? People fighting, people saying they gave you money and you ran off with the money, but they never gave you the money. And if you did run off with the money, it don't matter because who's going to believe them, you know? It was crazy.
Man, I'm still like this conversation I'm in awe.
Yeah,
like
it was different.
And what I'm saying is like, I believe you. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's unbelievable because I'm like, man, you really went through all this, man, and I just can't see you going through this because you always keep yourself up. You know what I'm saying? So this is crazy, man. This is really crazy, and I'm glad you're able to share this story because I'm hoping that like if anybody has family that's dealing with this type of addiction and you don't understand what's really going on or what they're going through, man, y'all are getting it firsthand right here. You know what I'm saying? To at least know what's going on and the possibility of the things that a family member or a friend that may be going through. You know what I'm saying? So. Like they say in Safe P, man, to be aware is to be alive. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I hope everybody that's tuned in or anybody that gets to see this video, man, that you know, y'all pay attention to what she's saying, man, and you know, if you got somebody that's in this type of condition, that you know, you can try to help them.
But it's with any kind of addiction.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part is admitting you have a problem and then seeking help for the problem. Yeah. But when you seek help, you have to make sure that you're seeking the right kind of help. You know, you have to make sure that help is going to work for you. You know, I've been in and out of detox and rehabs, everything. You know, I've experienced a lot of different situations, and I did intensive outpatient, which is where they house you. You know, they put you in houses with like other people, you know. So I've had to live with all different types of people while also being on the streets with all different types of people. So you're learning all these people and these behaviors, and you're seeing crazy on a whole nother level, you know. And the hardest part for me is getting to know myself again. You know, if I could say anything to anybody, if you're struggling with an addiction whatever it may be, just make sure that you seek the right kind of help for you. And people have to understand that this is not something you can do on your own. Like, the 12 steps, the first step is you have to find your higher power, which for me is God, you know? And God is the driving force behind my situation. Because that's the only reason why I'm still here, you know? But people don't need to be mistreated because they're going through something. People don't need the door closed on them because they're struggling with something, you know? And not all drug addicts steal from people. You know? Sometimes all we need is somebody to listen without a response. You know, just listen, you know? Because there's something that led up to that break. You know? I didn't even know that when I became homeless that I was going to have issues with my mental. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that homelessness would affect my mental, you know, and it did, you know, going inside, like when I went inside, like the first rehab I went to, I was so freaked out. I felt closed in. I wanted to get out of there. I felt it was horrible, you know. I wanted to do drugs so bad that I would rather sit at the bus stop in the rain and get high than be inside chilling. You know? But there were things that led up to it. It's not just something that happens, you know? How we deal with things in life can make or break us.
You're right.
Like, they really can. And in the Black community, people don't believe in... the old school, they don't believe in psychiatrists and all these mental disabilities and stuff like that. So a lot of situations get downplayed. Like, oh, Billy Jean been smoking crack for 30 years. That's what he gonna keep doing. But why is he smoking crack for 30 years? You have to get to the root of the problems.
You're right. You're right. You're sure right about that.
Right. And being in rehab, I literally was in rehab and I'm thinking I'm taking something. Oh, I'm ready. I'm this, that, and the other. Nope. I'd mess up and go right back out, you know? But meetings and stuff didn't work for me. That didn't work for me. What worked for me was realizing that I had nobody but God to fall on. Like, that's it. Because I had burned so many bridges. I had got kicked out of places, all kind of stuff, you know? I wasn't ready to change. I still wanted absolutely nothing, because that's all it was nothing. I still wanted absolutely nothing, you know? I would call my mom. I would start fights with my mom, you know, all because I needed somebody to blame. You know? And when it was all said and done, at the end of the day, like, a lot of stuff, I think a lot of my situation could have been prevented if I had been smarter about the things that I was doing. If I had been more mindful of the things that I was doing, you know? And people have to be careful. Like, if you're struggling with something and you know that you're not strong enough to just be in the presence of it, whatever it may be, then you need to stay away from the people that are doing those things, you know? And I'm human. I get that itch, you know? Like, I get anxious sometimes and I'm like, oh, if I had this and you know? But I know better. I know what that's going to get me, because I'm literally starting life at the bottom. Like, I have...
You know what them pros and cons are today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I've caused so much harm on my body, like physically, recovering. Like, I'm still recovering. And I didn't even know, but it's a proven fact that it takes men, when they're in recovery, it takes them a year to fully recover. For women, it takes 2 years for them to fully recover, their mind, their body, everything, right? And for me, it's been a long process, because this time last year, I was barely walking. So Christmas time last year, not 2024, 2023, I was barely walking. I was having to have wound care in the detox that I was at because I had open wounds on my legs. I had ulcers, all kind of stuff, you know. I really just, I thought everything was okay until it was not okay. You know, I remember calling my mom from the hospital. It was like 2 a.m. I don't know what time it was here because there's a 2-hour difference. And I told my mom that I was in the hospital. At this time, I didn't know what was wrong. The doctors didn't even know what was wrong. All they knew is that I had a really bad infection, you know. And I was so sick, I couldn't walk. It was bad. It was horrible. But my mom told me straight up, she was like, well, you're either going to do it God's way or no way, you know? And I still wasn't ready. I thought I was, but I still wasn't ready, you know? And then I realized if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do this because this is something that I want to do. So I did the last detox, and this last detox, I didn't get the medication, because when you go to detox, they give you the medication to make you comfortable, to help you, so you don't go through it as hard, you know? And I didn't let them give me anything. And I didn't get any kind of medication assisted treatment for the first 5 days. I was so sick. And that time, that was when I realized that I'm not going to be able to take another detox. My heart's not going to be able to take it. It's going to kill me. That's how bad it was, you know? And I had already been to detox like 5 or 6 times, you know? But when you're living that type of lifestyle, when you're on drugs, you kind of go into detox and rehabs for the season if it's too cold outside, you know? You might be sitting at the bus stop one night, everybody chilling, and you might just be too cold, and you might say, I'm going into detox tomorrow. For a couple of days, they're going to give you medication, get you right, this, that, and the other. Then you get out, go back, do what you want. It's like a little vacation, you know? But that time is when I took it seriously. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I went through the whole thing. The methadone, I went through the whole thing. I did all that. I did all that, you know?
Okay, I want to go back just a little bit because, like, I'm still like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the head, like, I'm used to it now from, like, when I had my injury, you know what I'm saying? Like, the needle, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never liked them, but when I was in the hospital, when I fucked my legs up and shit like that, and I was in the trauma center for 3 months, man, like, it's like, I'm literally like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got used to, like, when you said you went from, like, from the smoking to the shooting up, like, what was that transition like? Was you just like, this is not doing it for me, man, I need a quicker rush, or to even, like, come to the needle? Was that, like, were you fighting with it at first, or just like, fuck it, man, I'm trying to get high? You know what I'm saying?
For me, it was a euphoria.
Okay.
That's what it was for me. It lasted longer. It kept me up. Because I'm outside. I have to stay awake. Yeah. You know, there's only so many places you can sleep, you know? So, yeah, that's all it was for me. It was a euphoria. It was something about the needle hitting the skin for me, which is, it's strange, you know? But it was a rush. Yeah, it was different.
Man, the mind, if you don't take care of your mind, man, that mind can take you to a lot of places, man.
Oh yeah.
That you never wish or dreamed about. And you know, like, for us, like you were saying, like, especially the black community, man, we don't understand how important it is to have, like, if you're dealing with something, to have a therapist.
Right.
To go see a therapist, man, or a psychologist or something like that, man. Like, there's tools that I can go take my problems to Whitney all day, every day. But Whitney's not educated in this field to give me the tools. She can pretty much just listen to me and come up with her ideology on what could probably help me. But therapists and psychologists, man, they have tools that'll help
Coping mechanisms
that help you through these things, man. Because when I had my injury and I lost my foot and I messed up my leg and all that, look, man, I was ready for death. Like for real, I would take so many of those the tramadol and the hydrocodone, man. I would take more than I was supposed to take, hoping I don't wake up no more, because I didn't feel like I knew. I just felt like I'd never be able to take care of my family again. All these different type of scenarios, right? Until one day, man, I just said, and I think I had already, I wasn't even in the house no more. I finally left home, man. That I just went by myself, man. I talked to my doctor. I talked to my pain doctor. And I was like, look, man, this is where my mind at, man.
Right.
If I don't talk to somebody, I'm going to be on the bridge.
Right.
And he wrote down this number, told me get in touch with my caseworker, and they lined me up with this lady, man. And I only had to see her one time to get everything that I need from her. Just one time for telling I think twice. I seen her twice, and she gave me these tools. Go to this website. Go to this website. Go to this website. Work these things right here, these steps and this and that right there, man. And I was able to get back to who I was, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, these experiences that we go through, like, you're right, man, people don't know. If you don't get to the bottom of what that individual is going through, you would never know, man. Right. And a lot of time, y'all be like, oh, nigga, you don't need that shit. You don't have to go through that. Nigga, you don't know. You don't know what's going on in here. You're not no mind reader, man. Yeah. You're not no mind reader. And me being a Muslim, like, part of our belief system is that, like, our psychologists and our therapists is God.
Right.
In that Quran. You read it enough. You recite it enough. It'll help you through whatever mental illness you got.
Right.
And that's what, like, I do, because I'm like you, man. You know, I would go to the meetings and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't do nothing for me, man.
Yeah.
It wouldn't do nothing for me. Like, just this past year, like, I wasn't on nothing, but my mentality was fucked up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I hadn't been to the masjid in, man, years. Talking about maybe close to maybe 10 years. I had not been to the masjid, was not practicing my faith or nothing like that. And I got out of control, man. My tolerance for people was small, real thin. If you said something to me that I felt disrespectful, man, I don't care if you was a male or a female, I was gonna give you what you asked for.
Right.
And I got into a situation, and I was like, man, nah. If I continue to let my anger get to me, I'm gonna wind up going back to the penitentiary, man. I'm gonna hurt somebody out here, because I'm not gonna let nobody hurt me due to my condition. I'm going to get the upper hand off the rip. I'm not going to give nobody no chance to do nothing. If I feel you walking towards me in a manner that I feel that my life is threatened, I'm going to down you. You know what I'm saying? And this is what my mentality was. Well, when I knew that, like, for the most part, I ain't even supposed to be in these type of spots. You know what I'm saying? When I started going back to the masjid and started back reading my Quran and started back understanding, you know, we have an English transliteration, but the Arabic is the important part,
right?
Because it's the word in which it was given. So when you got your Arabic dictionary and you looking at this certain word that it's saying, and you go to that word and it shows you the in-depth part of this word,
right? Where it derives from and everything,
and the root meaning to it,
right?
And where it goes, man. Then it's just like you're finding the root to yourself. You know what I'm saying? In order to overcome these things. So when you say that, like, for yourself, that it could only be God, I understand that. Yeah. And I feel that, because outside of the therapist, I've tried every avenue and nothing worked for me. And it all led me back to what had been working for me. It led me back to what got me through prison. it led me back to what made me a better, not the same person that I was before I went to prison. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I understand you, man, and I commend you, you know, like with that spiritual aspect and that spiritual journey. One thing about people like think that like when we get back on our journeys or things like that, they're like, oh, we're perfect. You know what I'm saying? God don't deal with the perfect, man. He deal with the imperfect. You know what I'm saying?
If you're well, you don't need a doctor. Sick people need a doctor.
Exactly, man.
You know?
And if you and we all have some type of sickness that can only be fixed by God. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what my mom asked me yesterday? She asked me, we were talking and I was explaining to her, you know, the different things that I've experienced, you know. I don't go into detail about a lot because some things are just awkward, you know. But my mom said, and that hasn't affected your mind. And you know what I thought about? Like, it hasn't affected my mind. I feel like I would be worse off if I hadn't have leaned on God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like I would have been worse off.
Oh, yeah, I feel you on that.
I experienced a lot of emotional trauma, especially being on the streets. Then keep in mind, Creon, I wasn't very mobile after a while because of my legs. You know what I'm saying? So then you become wounded prey.
Yeah.
So it's people. I experienced a lot of hurt. Like, you know, because I feel like for the most part, I may have been on drugs, this, that, and the other, but I feel like I still have my integrity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like I still have my respect as an individual, you know, despite the situation that I was in. But people are vultures. They will suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
You know? It was to a point where I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I wasn't tired enough to just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to go and get sober, but to maintain it. They don't talk about after the sobriety.
Yeah.
They don't talk about how your mind changes, how your body has to start reproducing dopamine, how you feel fatigue, how you have lack of energy, how you experience different stuff, how you have to learn yourself. They don't talk about all of that. It's hell.
Yeah.
I am literally trying to get to know myself again. Like I was telling you earlier, like I'm socially awkward. I think I'm socially awkward, you know? Sometimes I feel like I don't know how to have conversations anymore because I feel like I was out of the loop for so long. I was dealing with a certain type of people, you know? And they just don't talk about this enough, like the side effects of the recovery. Yeah, it's great being sober, not being held back by anything. But the process of getting
to recovery,
right, it's so hard mentally, emotionally. It's draining, physically. You know, people don't know what a person struggles with on a day-to-day basis, and that's normal people. You know,
and that's one of the main reasons why I stay to myself, man. Like when I get off of work, I go home, man. I only allow a few people inside of my space. You know what I'm saying? And those are the people that's closest to me. Probably outside of my children, there's probably 2 to 3 people who come to my crib. And it's not because I can't have a lot of people over. It's because I'm not letting y'all come into my space.
Right.
Because I understand what it feels to be like socially awkward, because I'm at the point of like I have nothing to talk to y'all about, and what y'all talking about ain't stimulating to me.
Right.
And what I mean by stimulating, like for my mind, you know what I'm saying? Conversation ain't conversation like it used to be to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about dumb shit. I don't want to talk about past shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about growth and development.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're not bringing it to my table, you know what I'm saying? I really don't want it, because it does nothing for me.
That's true.
It really does nothing for me. It's like when those conversations are for when I'm at work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're just getting through the day, chopping stuff up and things like that.
You're getting paid to have those conversations.
But when I leave that place, man, work don't come home with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not the same person at home that I am at work. At home, I'm more analytical.
Right.
I'm more anal. I'm more into growth and development. You know what I'm saying? Not just for my mind, my body, but for my soul. Because all the things that I've done and I've been through and the things that I'm seeing that's going on, you know what I'm saying? Like this weekend is TT's funeral, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? It's this Saturday, his funeral. I'm burying a friend who's younger than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? His family's burying, but I feel like he's my friend. Like we're gonna lay one of our friends to rest that's younger than me. How many people out here are prepared to die? You know what I'm saying? Are prepared for death? And what I mean by that is your relationship right with God. You know, if you're a believer, if you believe in God, you know what I'm saying? Is your relationship right with Him?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or are you taking the necessary steps in life to do that's not what's pleasing to people, but what's pleasing to Him? You know what I'm saying? Because death is something that has to be prepared for, man.
Right.
It really does. It's something that has to be prepared for, according to Islamic knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I can't say what anybody else believes, but for us, death is something that's prepared for. You know what I'm saying? And one of the main things that's prepared through is by your actions and how you treat other people, how you go through society. Are you good to the animals? Are you good to people? Or do you help people? Or do you walk away from fights? Do you walk away from arguments? You know what I'm saying? And because I know the type of individual that I am, I keep myself out of those positions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to prepare for this day because why? I'm noticing that all of my friends are dying. And a lot of my friends that are dying are younger than me. And I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? So I just know that preparation must be taken and taken into consideration about where do we go from our addiction to living. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of our addiction also is about just surviving, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so long, us as a community of black people, all we lived for is to survive. We've never lived life.
Right.
We've survived life.
We don't even know what it's like to feel comfortable.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? We got to start learning how to live in this life that God has given us, man, instead of trying to survive in this life that He's given us. Because we already know we're built for survival. We're the beginning and we'll be the last. You know what I'm saying? So we're already built for survival, but how we're gonna live, you know what I'm saying? And we need to take time out, whether we're thinking about it or we're amongst the group of us, is to learn how to live again, man.
Right. And it sounds easy, but it's also hard. Yeah. It's hard. It is.
You got to think about it when you decide, man, I'm gonna start trying to live. You got to compare that to where for the past 30, 40, 50 years I've been surviving. So
right.
I got the how can I say it? I got to put just as much time of living to even meet it halfway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like for myself, I've been in and out of jail since 21. You know what I'm saying? Since I was 21. 18 to 21 or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Went to prison. I came home when I was 39. You know what I'm saying? I've been out for 14 years. This is the longest I've been out, but I still haven't reached to where they break even with each other. Right. I've been in trouble this long, but I've been out this long. I haven't still broken even to where I've been out long and I've been getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I got at least get to that point to where we meet each other. Yeah. Then I can start working on that part where, all right, I've been out longer than I've been in. You know what I'm saying?
I got it.
And that's how life is. We've been surviving for so long. You know what I'm saying? the day we decide to think that, you know, I'm ready to start living, well, we gotta know, we gotta understand, today is the first day of the step of compared to 30-something years. You know what I'm saying? So that's where, like you just said, it's hard. It's gonna be hard. But long as we keep taking them steps, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what counts, man.
I think I'm telling you, I did not want to come back home. I did not want to come back home. Like, coming back home was not an option. I was determined to make it, survive, you know. I mean, I've been sober for a while now because I've been in different programs and stuff like that. But this last program I was in, like, it really, really helped me. This was the one where I was like, okay, I'm going to behave myself, you know. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do what I got to do. So I decided to come back home, right? And I was excited. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to see my family. I haven't seen my family. But then when I got here, it was like familiar, but I felt out of place. Like, I felt like I didn't belong here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt really, really strange. So now it's getting familiar with Corpus again, you know.
Stay out the way. That's
right,
the best thing to do.
Right. But there are things that I haven't done that I hadn't done in a long time. Like, I hadn't been to a restaurant in over 3 years, like, sit down and eat. So my aunt took me to a restaurant, you know. I hadn't been to Walmart in a long time. Went to Walmart for the first time, you know. I just went to H-E-B for the first time 2 days ago, you know. So there are things that I have to take baby steps on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went from being out in the world, then going inside, having a schedule, being locked away for 90, because you can't go out when you're in the rehab. You can't go out for 90 days. And I was in there for 4 months, you know. And so I have anxiety, like, really, really bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like large crowds. I don't like, you know, I don't like a lot of noise. I'm starting to get back out there, you know. I never thought that I would be in this situation. Yeah. I never thought that I would be here, you know. And then getting sober, your body goes through all these different things, you know. It's just, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And then I was on medicated assisted treatment. I did the Suboxone thing again. Yeah. So I got off the methadone. I was on methadone for like 7 months, and I was on 200 milligrams of methadone a day. So I was gone all day, every day. I would go to class, not off in class, but I leaned on the methadone because it was the same thing like fentanyl for me, you know? So it was like I got off one thing to go to the next. So then I get off the methadone because IOP houses don't take people on methadone, right? Yeah. Only Suboxone. So then I let them put me on Suboxone. And I was on Suboxone for a while, and I started abusing Suboxone. And that's when I realized, like, I haven't gone through this in a long time. Why am I doing this to myself again? So then I decided to get off the Suboxone, and I did it cold turkey. Cold turkey. So when I decided to come home, that was a plus because I'm not being held back by anything. Yeah. I'm not on no medication. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on nothing. That was the first time I felt free, you know? So I come back home, everything, like I said, it was familiar. It was just different, you know? I'm battling with all the stuff that I've been through and gone through and things that I've done. And then now I'm back with my family. And, you know, it was just, I was beating myself up. Like, I still didn't want to do anything. Like, I didn't have any ambition, like any drive, you know, like it all had to set in, you know, had to process everything. But for the most part, everybody around me has been really, really supportive, you know, and I'm grateful for that. I really, really am. I'm very grateful for that. But I'm excited to see what the future is going to be like after this brief session of, because right now I'm just trying to get my life back on track. That's all I can do is rebuild right now.
One day at a time, man.
Yeah.
Like, for real. I know that's just a that's a 12-step saying, man, but life is really like that. One day at a time, man.
Right.
One day at a time, man. One day at a time. You get through that day, the past is already in the past. Tomorrow, we don't know if it'll come. All we got to do is just get through that day. You know what I'm saying? And that's the objective. You wake up the next day, man, it's another day to get past,
Right. The crazy part is I don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
Like, despite everything I went through, everything I experienced, whatever, I don't have any regrets because I learned, I felt like that was my story. I had to go through these things in life, in order to grow, in order to learn. Because now I know what I will deal with, what I won't deal with, what I'm willing to tolerate,
Right.
And the way I see things is, shit, I put myself through enough hell. I ain't finna let nobody else do it.
You got dang right.
Like, I done spent too much time in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't got time for it no more,
That's good, man.
And I mean, I'm grateful. I really, really am. I am grateful because I didn't realize so many people had lost their life to fentanyl. It's crazy because you're living in it, but you're unaware.
Speaking of that, how many people that you knew personally when you was out there that had lost their lives?
I was just thinking the same thing in my head.
I was intended to ask you that when you said the first time that your friend had lost her life, but how many people do you know that when you were out there personally that you had experiences with, quote unquote, smaller friendships with, you know what I'm saying, that that Pat saying?
Probably like 10, 15 people.
That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
From overdoses?
Mm-hmm. I remember I had a friend. She had got a pipe from somebody, and the girl that she got the pipe from smoked Fetty powder, which is the fentanyl powder, just straight fentanyl powder. And she told her to be careful because this girl, my friend, smoked crack or whatever. Yeah. So that's what she was going to use it for. And she told her to be careful because that's what she had used it for. So instead of cleaning it out, she goes and loads it and smokes it. Now, I'm running upstairs real quick, right? By the time I get up there, somebody comes beating on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, girl, I fell out. We get downstairs. She's unconscious. We had to hit her with Narcan. We hit her with the spray. Then we had to give her the shot in her leg. And it was so scary. It was the scariest thing. And that was the first time I had seen somebody overdose. That was the first time. The second time, it was a boy. We told him not to smoke the Fetty powder. And he thought that he was a G, and he did it anyway, and he fell out. And I had a homegirl who was an amputee, and she was in a wheelchair. And I remember her just jumping out of the wheelchair and going, like, getting up under his head, and then I came down and hit him with the Narcan. But it was an everyday occurrence. We all had Narcan on us all the time.
Those two instances, those people survived?
Yes, they did. But my friend, she didn't make it. Her and I met on the streets getting high together, and then we ended up running into each other at rehab. And she stayed sober for a while, and she relapsed, and the girl left her instead of calling the ambulance. She just left her. And there's a law in Arizona that if you call the police and you stay there with them, you're not going to go to jail because you're saving their life. Yeah. There's a law there, but she left her, and it was all on camera. Everything was on camera. And that really broke my heart because Jamie and that was the girl that helped me to the bus when the blood clot hit my lung, And then I lost another friend, the girl that was my neighbor. We weren't really friends, but we were friends. But she ended up dying from an overdose on fentanyl. And what it was is people just didn't know their limits, And some people would, like I said, hit it for the first time and just fall out. I thank God that I never overdosed. I never overdosed, not one time. I thank God every day for that, every day. I've been woken up by police, I don't know how many times. And I wake up, I'm arguing with the cops. And the cops, they tell you you're high off that shit. And you tell them I ain't high. And you got the foil on your hand and shit. And the cops in Arizona, they're rough. Oh, they're rough. They pull up with guns out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's everybody carries, like here, everybody carries. And they're rough. They'll warn you. In certain areas, they'll warn you. I remember being on the side of the road and the cops pulling up and getting on the loudspeaker, stop doing drugs on the side of the road, and then pulling off. Sometimes they get out, they ask questions, they run your name. And since they give fake names so much out there, they have this little fingerprint thing where they fingerprint you if you're homeless. Like on the street, they fingerprint you real quick and everything. They have your name, everything. So Arizona was a different type of place for me. It was really weird.
You know what? Being a cop, and I have my issues with the police. You know what I'm saying? It's just the black and blue relationship will never be what it should be. But could you imagine, man? You trying to be a cop, man, and you have to deal with the same shit every day.
It's aggravating.
It'll turn you into a monster, man. It'll turn you into a monster, man. Because for the most part, you feel like, all right, I got a job to do. You know what I'm saying? I want to go out here, get through the day. And for the past 5 years, I've been dealing with this bullshit, man. I don't want to be nice to a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I had came across that being young and getting caught smoking weed outside by the police. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And name was PJ, man. And I remember PJ telling us, look, man, smoke in the house. He said, I got a job to do, man. Smoke in the house. If you're going to smoke weed, smoke in the house. Because if you're doing it in front of me, you're being disrespectful, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to smoke your weed, smoke in the house. Don't disrespect me. I got a job to do, man. If I pull up on you and I catch you smoking weed, I'm gonna have to do my job.
Right.
This ain't. I don't want to be running around here resting. It's more shit going on out here than smoking weed. That's what he would tell us. You know what I'm saying? It's more shit going on out here than smoking weed, man. More shit. You're stopping me from more shit. You know what I'm saying? So this shit right here, go do it in your house, man. Find somewhere to sit down and do it, but don't do it outside in public while I have to drive around and see y'all doing that shit because you're being disrespectful to me now.
The cops in Arizona were assholes, though. They would terrorize us just because we're homeless. We didn't even have to be doing drugs in the moment. Just because you're homeless. They would come up, ask questions, all kind of shit. But I was always good because I didn't have a record. I didn't have a record. Run my shit. I don't care, But I got a sergeant one time, this particular time, and he was an asshole to me. This was the first time I had ever experienced shit like this. Like, this man was, like, blaming us for our situation. Well, go to a shelter. There's a waiting list. Go to another shelter. There's only so many in the city. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we had problems on top of problems on top of problems, Life was different every day. Every day it was always something new. You didn't know who you were going to run into. You didn't know what you were going to witness, what you were going to experience. Yeah. I remember my friend, one day he was there, and then all of a sudden we didn't see him, but we're hearing this rumor that this guy got hit by a car, and then all of a sudden it's him. Like people just dropping like flies all around you, and you still can't get it right.
Yeah.
Life is hard, and trying to maneuver and get through life gets hard.
You had a few people on here that watched the show, and they somebody LTO Perez said, "I'm proud of you, Whitney."
Thank you.
Esther Benavides says, "So crazy to hear, Whitney. Thank God you beat it."
I love you, Esther.
She also said hi, Whitney, in the beginning. So
we went to school together, her and I.
That's cool. Well, I don't mean to cut the story short, man, but this This was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I swear this was awesome. This is probably like one of my top 5. Shit, might be one of my top 3 interviews, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this has a lot of meaning and it's close to home for me because I know you. You know what I'm saying? I want to commend you on your journey. You know what I'm saying? And getting back to being Whitney. You know what I'm saying? Recognizing that you did have a problem and you chose to do something about it because that's hard for like a lot of people to do. You know what I'm saying? No, when you're conscious of knowing what's going on and you do something about it, man, that's God sent. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to commend you, man, and thank you for coming through. Thank you for doing the interview with us, man. I'm glad you hit me in my inbox, man, so we could have this day together, man. And I hadn't seen you in a long time.
Yeah.
So that's even better, man, to be able to see you again. And this was amazing, man. And even I wouldn't have known. You know, we hear, like you say, we see on social media and things like that, but to Esther says she loves you, but to hear it firsthand from somebody, man, it means a lot much more. It's more meaningful, man. And like I said, anybody who's tuned in, man, I hope that that y'all were able to grasp something, man. You know what I'm saying? To have patience and understanding, man. To get to the root of the problem. And to be there for somebody, man, because we all have our issues, man, and no one never knows what the next person is going through, man.
Right.
So with that being said, man, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank Whitney for coming through.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you too, man, most definitely. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Man Look, the talk show, in collaboration with Ridin High Podcast, man. And next week we'll be talking about Juneteenth with who's the next guest?
Miss Simone Sanders.
Miss Simone Sanders. I'll be interviewing her concerning the Juneteenth that's coming up and the things that they have going on, man. And y'all just stay rocking with us, man. And I'm gonna always try to give y'all some news y'all can use, man. That's my thing, man. I'm gonna try to give y'all some news y'all can use. With that, peace. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a blessed night. I gotta be at work tomorrow morning.